What's wrong with this picture? If you can't tell, let's get a little closer. Do you see it now? That, of course, is the evil that makes men cry. The dreaded greatest hits spine. Yeah, well, in reality, they're really not that big a deal. I mean, yes, it does mess with the uniformity of all your games. I mean, yes, they do stand out, but they really aren't that big a deal. But don't be so picky about, red box or black box, because in some cases, the greatest hits version is actually a lot better. And that's what I want to talk about. Because while, game makers like to, re-release stuff and like to, give you brand new versions of stuff, this was in the era of back then when, games weren't easily patched. You couldn't just, just connect to the internet and just get an update. Back then, what they shipped is what you got. And in this case, they decided to do, again, re-releases, but kind of fix the game or add more stuff incognito. Or in this case, with a glaring red box cover. But yeah, today I want to focus on those exceptions. And these games are not just going to be, simple little patches, simple little updates. I mean, they do have those little, little tweaks. But in these cases, these are actual special editions, disguised as greatest hits games. So yeah, these are games you do not want to turn your back on just because, I don't like the color red. No. If you ever see these out in the wild, you gotta get these. To start this off, let's start off with one of the greats. Of course I'm talking about Silent Hill 2. Which, funny enough, is the most incognito of them all. Now, I've already made a video going in-depth on this game in my Versus series, so let's just get to what makes the red box version the must-have version for PS2. Content-wise, some cool new additions, a new ending that is a callback to Silent Hill 1, I'm not going to ruin it here or spoilers or anything, but I will give you a hint. Dog. Some new graphical enhancements, particularly in the lighting department, which I cannot really confirm or deny this, it's just something I read, so if anyone out there has both PS2 copies, can you see if this is true or not? And if so, let us know in the comments below. But yeah, besides those things, the biggest inclusion is, of course, a new mode, where you play as Maria, which focuses more on puzzles than combat. It's a short mode, I mean it'll take you about 30 minutes to an hour, but regardless, it's a great inclusion if you wanted more lore from Silent Hill 2. Now, sadly this has probably been passed up by some people out there who've preferred the black box version, because, from the outside, at least from the spine and the front, there's no difference. But for any person who at least checked the back of the box, well, they were greeted by an indication that this version definitely has some new content here. Part of me wants to advocate for the point that they should have at least put something in the front, something like, like a little, special edition or something like that, but at the same time, I'm glad they didn't because I actually really like this box art, and I kind of like the red and the green with this one because it pops a little bit. Maybe on the spine, but again, I just like the overall aesthetic of it. But thankfully, at least they had to force it to put something on the back, because if they didn't even include anything at all, that would just be... That just kind of pissed me off. But yeah, moving on, now let's see one that was at least a little less transparent with what was inside. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix. On top of already having a misleading title with Dub Edition, implying that there's another edition of an existing game, which that's not true, the Greatest Hits version also added in Remix to the end, to differentiate it from the black box version a little more, I guess. As well as change the vehicles on the cover, which honestly, I didn't even notice all these years until making this video. 24 new vehicles, including some brands not in the original version, such as GMC, Infiniti, and Pagani, and Scion. 25 new licensed songs, which now brings the track listing to a staggering 124 songs. At least I think so. I don't know if that's including... I'm not going to go through the whole thing and count all the songs, regardless, but moving on, there's also additional races and battle maps, recolored menu UI being recolored from mostly blue gold to a red and black silver. I guess it's an aesthetic choice, but on top of that, there's also an optional career mode Tokyo Challenge, which includes a whole new map, or in this case, a returning city, which is a slightly updated version of the Tokyo City from Midnight Club 2. This is included in the box art, but very, very tiny. If you blink, you'll miss it. So yes, thankfully at least the remix gets your attention and makes you want to buy this version of the game. So yeah, while there aren't that many huge maps in this game, it's still nice to see that the developers wanted to add in, a few extra bonuses. So yeah, if you're going to be searching for a copy of this game, definitely get the red box version. Next up, let's look at a game that goes even farther to market itself as a special edition. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Now, this box art definitely stands out more, and clearly displays to the consumer that something is definitely different here. Besides the front cover, which I do have to say, I much prefer the Greatest Hits version. I mean, the original is just Goku with his fist. this just reminds me of the terrible box art we have nowadays. Whereas this newer one has much more color and much more energy because of, the action sequence that's happening in front of you. But now, if you flip it over, the only difference now is in glaring white letters, now with original Japanese voice cast. Which honestly is this version's biggest new inclusion.
You don't know it yet, but there was a great power sleeping within you.
You're lying! I don't have any power!
どうやら自分では気づいていないようだが、お前の秘めたるパワーは相当なものだ。
嘘だ！僕にはそんな力ない！
Now, I'm not going to start a debate whether you prefer dub or sub. I mean, that's not my point. The point I'm trying to make is, there's now options, and you now have the choice. But yeah, this version also does include some other extra tidbits. A wider move list can be seen in the pause menu now, as well as minor graphical tweaks here and there, such as characters moving their mouths in the menus, added visuals such as like Gotenk's ultimate attack now having a ghost spit out instead of a white mist from the regular version, and on top of that, some new character costumes. Moving on, Devil May Cry 3. Now, I do not own a physical version of this game. I had the digital version that is part of the HD trilogy on PS3. But as you can see here, this game does actually contain the words Special Edition on the cover. Finally. Now, I know that people in the PAL regions and the Japanese regions didn't have to deal with this crap because they actually got real special editions of this game. But here in the States, either someone was asleep at the wheel or something. I honestly have no idea why they released this as the greatest hits version. I mean, yes, at a glance, you're just gonna go, oh, screw that, I don't want the red box. But at the very least, the actual cover art, the front and the back do at least express, hey, this is a special edition of this game. So, it's more of just like aesthetic choices, and I'm honestly wondering why the hell did they even just go with the red box? They weren't saving money here. It makes no sense. But yeah, regardless of that, let's focus on the game. What makes this version so special? Well, rebalanced difficulty, a new easier mode that allows for quick saves, new boss encounters with a character named Jester, where you can actually fight him and not just, fight him in cutscenes. A turbo mode which makes the game 20% faster, which personally, I do prefer playing this game like this. I know people are probably going to hate me for that, but whatever. A new survival mode called Bloody Palace with a staggering 9,999 levels, which I seriously doubt anyone will ever get that high, but regardless, there's a lot of extra content here. But besides all that, there's a huge new inclusion. And that's, of course, you get to play as Virgil. And he's not just a palette swap either. He definitely controls a lot more different. He's stronger than Dante, but albeit a little more stiff, which is a good trade-off. But yeah, to end on this, do not get fooled by this random placement of this Greatest Hits Edition. This is not a Greatest Hits Edition. This is a brand new special edition, just that someone decided to be a freaking jokester and just slap on the red on here. This is the version to get. Or in my case, you could just buy the PS3 and PS4 version. Either one, but if you're the kind of purist who wants to play this on the actual PS2, just go for this version. Or you can also get this black box version. Yeah, while editing this video, I looked deeper into it and I'm wrong. This game, or at least this version, the special edition, does in fact exist as a black box version. This was only released as part of a collection, the Devil May Cry 5th Anniversary Collection. So yeah, there it is, I was wrong. Now I would say just disregard this whole last entry, but still the point stands. This game, or at least the special edition, was originally released as a greatest hits version. So yeah, while the black box version does exist, it's still also a very strange thing indeed. I mean, the greatest hits version existed before the black box version. That in itself is very unique. But yeah, regardless, let's get back to our regular programming. And last but not least, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. This one's weird because I don't even think this one should count due to the fact that, at least in the US, but let me explain. Virtua Fighter 4, just the regular version, was released as a black box version. And just like every other PS2 game that sold very well, it got its own greatest hits version, which is the exact same game as the black box version. It was just a label change. But a year after release, an updated version called Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution was also released on the PS2. But here's where it got weird. Instead of just releasing it as its own black box version, this was only released as a greatest hits title. So yeah, this should just be treated like, Devil May Cry 3. It's just a special edition with... No, because technically, if you're looking for this game on the PS2, there are 3 versions. We have the black box original version, a GH original version, and the exclusive special edition that's only been released on the greatest hits version. So yeah. This one is weird, but just to be thorough, I'm going to include it on this list. But yeah, what's included in here? Balancing tweaks for all the characters, 2 brand new characters, a new quest mode store, or shop, how it's called in the game, where you can actually buy a bunch of goodies, better features for quest mode like an in-game opponent tracker, new special gameplay modes, special ring types, an exclusive Sonic Cup that clearly pays homage to Sega's mascot, as well as a PS2 remake of the original Virtua Fighter, on the disc labeled the 10th Anniversary Edition. So yeah, I completely understand why they re-released this game. I mean, this is not the same as like the black box version or the regular greatest hits version. But once again, why in the hell did they release this as a red label only? So yeah, if you're that adamant about getting Virtua Fighter 4 in your collection, you gotta just bite the bullet. Don't go with the original version. I mean, yes, collect that one too, but if you want the best bang for your buck, you gotta go with the Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution Edition. So yeah, all in all, as a whole, the next time you see any one of these games out in the wild and you say, I want the original version, I want, like the actual, all my freaking covers to be black, I want it all to be uniform. No, you don't. Just bite the bullet. Seriously, it's not that, to be completely honest, the black on red, I kind of like. That's a personal preference, maybe that might drive people crazy. But in the case of these games, you gotta go with the better versions. Well, that's the video. And yeah, to be honest, this was kind of a shitty practice, wasn't it? I mean, you do have an original version of a game, and then out of nowhere, the developer just gives you a brand new version, kind of just like shadow dropping it. Like, oh yeah, here's a brand new, budget priced version that has more content. I mean, the budget price is a nice, little tidbit, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of cool to think about this stuff. It's kind of, to explore, like actually see if there's other games out there that like this. At least from what I gathered, these are the only PS2 games that have this. But, yeah. They could have easily just benefited from just, re-releasing the game, pretty much just giving us a brand new version and not just trying to stick this whole red abomination on there. I'm very flip-floppy with that. I mean, to be honest, some games look great. And then others just look weird. Whatever. I don't know. This one looks great too. But regardless, I think that's the only ones I was able to find on the PS2. If there's any other games out there, let me know. I mean, even just like, small little, graphical tweaks, small little things, inclusions, just tiny ones. But these are the only ones that I could gather that were actually, big departures from the original version that are honestly the must-own versions of the game. So yeah, if there's anything out there, like, oh, this little included thing, or, like maybe like like a brightness setting, I don't know. It's cool to learn about this stuff, and it's cool to just delve deeper into this. But yeah, that's the PS2 lineup. PS1 and PS3 have definitely done this also. PS3 less so because of the whole, being able to update the game, but there do exist some out there. So, if you want, I can delve into that too. But yeah, that's for the future. Don't worry about that. For now, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if that video does exist, it'll probably be somewhere in the ending annotations, and you probably just click there. If not, then I'll see you guys later.